I've only got a fit. Okay, back here with David Graeber, one of the 80 founders of Occupy. Did you coin 99%?
I didn't come up with "we are the 99%." I said, why don't we do something with 99%? And then like a couple Spanish indignados and a Greek anarchist named Georgia wrote "we the 99%." And then there was this Korean food not bombs guy who wrote "R." So it was actually a slogan that was created by committees, but it came out pretty good.
Occupy is anarchistic.
Yeah, which means that we think that a free society would be one where people have those kind of relations with each other that wouldn't require the ability to call up someone with a stick to threaten you with violence to get things done. That's basically all that anarchism is.
When I went to Occupy in St. Paul's, I took my son, and there was I couldn't fucking believe it. I went there the first day, but it kicked off. So we come back a little. There was a library. Yeah. There was a university. They were feeding food. You had to see this food kitchen. It was unbelievable.
Pretty good food a lot.
Yeah, there was so much. There was fruit and everything. Why? They're scared of that, aren't they?
That's the thing that scares them most. I mean, community, people actually taking care of each other. Because they're teaching us that we're all individuals, we're all greedy, we're all selfish, we don't give a shit about anybody else. And they enforce that. They create an environment where you gotta act like that. The one thing that threatens them the most is the idea that human beings could actually self-organize, manage their own affairs without needing anybody to tell them what to do. And the moment they see that breaking out, they respond with violence.
Yeah. Well, see, what they're actually scared, we're in this squat right now, where these guys have come together to do this free education thing. What they're scared of Occupy. They're scared of squats, because what it does is it's offering, there's lots of homeless people, but it's offering shelter, but it's also offering political debate. They don't like that. Yeah. It's offering an alternative living outside of social systems.
Yeah, because the one thing that people ruling us hate the most, I mean, if you say they're evil, if you tell them to shape up or do things differently, it's somewhat flattering to them because you're paying attention to them. The one thing they really hate is say, you're just completely unnecessary, you're a parasite. We can just go on about our business without you and do it better. And that's really threatening. I mean, a real community, a real democracy. And that's what democracy is coming to mean in the world today, because people are realizing that democracy was never something that was handed to us by our betters. We dragged it from them kicking and screaming insofar as we got any of it. And now we realize that we're never going to get those people to actually become vehicles of the popular will. They're vehicles of the will of money. And that's all. I mean, what we got here isn't a democracy. It's a system of institutionalized bribery. And I think around the world, you go to Greece, you go to Brazil, you go to Turkey. Whenever you have a democratic uprising, people aren't forming political parties and trying to take over the government because they know that's not going to work. We've been trying that for 100 years, it never worked.
But what they're scared of, they're scared that people don't. You know what they're scared of? The philosophy of tents.
Yeah.
They're
philosophy
scared
of community, philosophy of people talking
to each
other,
they sat outside South Africa House for, to get Nelson Mandela, Brian Hoare, Occupy. They don't like tents.
They don't like tents.
They want you to go home, David.
Yeah. They want you to go home and watch television or stare at your screen and not talk to people.
TV is fucking God. Interesting you just talking about Turkey and Brazil, because I put a couple of notes here about that. Because what they done in Turkey and Brazil, the first thing was send in the police.
Yep.
Shoot the fuckers.
Exactly, yeah.
Kick them. CS gas them. But they don't want to go home. And then the second thing, what they do, is they start this fucking barter shit. Okay, you had the Prime Minister of Brazil coming out and the one from Turkey. What do you want? Well, how can we get you to go home?
Yeah. And
that's how they win. That's when nothing changes.
Yeah, they want to co-opt you. That's why they're always saying, you need to produce leaders, you need to produce proposals, and then we can incorporate you into the system and bribe you and draw you in, and before long, nothing's going to happen.
And then we've got the tragedy of Egypt, where they had the incredible Arab Spring and Tahrir Square. Now you got fucking Tony Blair coming out praising a fucking military dictator who's already arresting journalists, killing and torturing.
Yep. Yeah, well, but in the meantime, you talk to people from Egypt, they're not totally despairing, because there's things that were created. They've got neighborhood committees, they've got democratic institutions. That's the thing. We've got to create a democratic culture with each other. Just to hell with them. I mean, I always go back to Argentina. I think that's one of the greatest examples. 2001, 2002, their slogan was, que se vayan todos. It means basically they can all go to hell. All political parties. We don't care about any of them. And that act of just like, because most people already know that politicians are swine, they loathe those guys. Everybody likes democracy, everybody hates politicians. Well, let's do democracy without the politicians. People say, well, you didn't have demands, you're not going to actually accomplish anything. But actually they did. Just by, they got to the point where politicians couldn't even go to restaurants. They'd have to wear phony mustaches and shit like that because if they went there, people would throw food at them. They'd chase them out of the place. And when it got to that point, they said, "Oh shit, we've got to do something." So they defaulted on the Argentine debt, and they ended the third world debt crisis. They almost destroyed the IMF. And these are guys who never would have done that otherwise. And they certainly would have never done it if you came with a petition and asked nicely. It's only you say you guys are worthless. You guys have no relevance to our lives. It's up to you to prove that you have anything that you can do that's going to be of any help to us, any relevance to us. And when you do that, well, then they stand up and take notice.
But it's the war machine that backs all this shit, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's the banks, the oil, the mining, and the arms dealing.
And the arms. I mean, basically what is Britain right now? It's like the loyal lieutenant to the American empire. I mean, we're supposed to believe, oh, there's a trade deficit. People are sending us their stuff, and somehow we're not sending it back, so we owe them, but we never seem to pay that debt. I mean, come on. It's like somehow all these poor countries are so confused and dazzled by our financial instruments, they're just sending us all their stuff and not getting anything in return. That has nothing to do with the fact that we've got this gigantic military straddling the world. It's a tribute system. That's what it is. The thing is, the American system, American empire, it's going down. I mean, that's what the Arab Spring was originally. It was like the first sort of struggle over what's going to come after the collapse of the American empire. It's sort of a tailspin. It's a retreat everywhere. And if Great Britain is going to have a place in the world, it's got to figure out, pull itself out from underneath the eagle's feathers here and, actually set up an economy that works for people rather than
how do we fight back?
Yeah.
How do we fight back?
How do we fight back? Well, I mean, we've got to withdraw our consent from the existing institutions. We've got to set up institutions of our own. We've got to take care of each other and tell the politicians, you guys are irrelevant. And when we do that, they'll start trying to make themselves relevant in some way or another.
I'm the Taxi Driver here with David Graeber. Withdraw your consent.